I don't exactly know how I got like this, but it's not like I popped out of the womb this way. And I've loved riding a bike for as long as I can remember. But growing up, there were some dads on my block that had road bikes and would wear the kit. I was glad that my dad didn't do that. When I graduated from college, I had this job where director of the organization would come in, kitted out with his bike, junk showing. I didn't think that was a really good look. And it was around that time where the bike was really becoming a larger part of my identity. I had this horrible commute. Eventually my office moved. I got a bike. I started riding there and back. Things got a little better. Then I moved to New York. Kept on commuting. Loved to ride. Not monitoring speed or anything. Occasionally a roadie would go faster than me. I didn't care. Pandemic happens. I don't ride for a few months because the world was shut down. I moved back home to Chicago. My bike was still in New York. So I started riding my dad's bike back in Chicago. It's just a hybrid, a commuter. He's a couple inches taller than me. I didn't care. I'd do 45-minute rides to start. That turned into 60-minute rides. One morning I just rode 20 miles north because I knew I could. I'd be able to get back, no trouble. And I end up at this incredible vista of Lake Michigan I've never seen before. And I just got there on a whim with this machine. I knew I wanted to make it a bigger part of my life at that point. So I got a gravel bike. Could work from anywhere, didn't want to go back to New York, seemed like a bad place for the pandemic. Decided to go to Southern California. Found an Airbnb in Ventura, this sleepy beach town, like 60 miles north of LA. I was going to take my bike, but I thought I was going to become a surfer dude. And I got in the ocean like once. All I did was ride. I discovered my first hill. Probably 5%. Took me 5 minutes. Probably would take your average roadie 2. I thought my heart was going to explode. I thought I would fall over at any moment. But when I got up that hill, I kind of realized that I had unlocked a totally new category. I didn't have to just go straight anymore. I could go up. Just kept riding more. Tennis shoes, shoelaces, getting caught in the drivetrain, gym shorts. At least I wore a helmet. When I got to Malibu, I would pass by roadies, and they were this. And I was just doing a big 70-mile ride, 80-mile ride. I'm like, why are you doing that? But I kept riding, and it made sense to get clipless pedals. I got a pair of bibs, and begrudgingly, I went on Amazon and paid $22 for a jersey. I really fell in love with it. But I decided that California was almost too nice. I wasn't ready to spend the rest of my life there. So I found a place back in New York. I was worried, though, that the riding would never compare. I knew Central Park was good. I knew across the George Washington Bridge was good. There was a lot more for speed. And my identity was still kind of as a gravel cyclist. I had long hair at the time. But I started to get what the roadies had going on. I showed up to a morning group ride in Central Park. We had like 22 miles per hour for an hour. I got home and I looked at my Strava and I saw that and I was like, I just did that? And I started riding in the mornings more and doing that. And I would see the other people who would go in the mornings on a regular basis. And there was this one guy, I would sit in his wheel and he'd sit in my wheel from time to time. And we became kind of friendly. And maybe the third or fourth time that I ran into him, turned out he was a coach. Will Schneider, the Pied Piper in New York City cycling. The woman who he was coaching at the time apparently was about to do an interval. And he turns to me and goes, I bet you can't hold her wheel. We start the hill and we get like halfway up and she accelerates and I get dropped. And Will turns to me and goes, I fucking told you you couldn't. I started thinking about a road bike pretty seriously at that point. And I got one in October of 21, day after I bought it. I just set out to spend as much time on the bike as I possibly could. I'm like 35 miles north of the city. I start passing by this group of like 8 guys. It turns out Pied Piper Will is part of that group. She rides up to catch up to him and goes, "Hey, you want to ride with us?" I was like, "Sure." We rode like 70 more miles. And I was bonked for half of it. And I had no idea how to join a group ride or sit in a draft. The guys were making fun of me because I didn't shave my legs. But I did it. 110 miles, like 18 or 19 miles per hour. And I didn't know what I wanted to get out of the sport. But I knew that it was something closer to that.